Hey guys, the chicken is here. We're back today with another home gym video. In today's video, guys, I'm going to talk about what is everyone's favorite topic, some of my worst home gym purchases, and some advice for those of you buying equipment maybe for the first time, or some of you old grizzled vets out there. You might appreciate some of these things because I'm sure you've experienced some of, if not all of them yourself. So, starting out, what are some things that we can be persuaded into buying for a home gym, but don't necessarily hit the mark, or they don't really end up working out, and then we end up selling them. So typically these are going to be like accessory machines or things that are very specific. I know we say it all the time, like variability and variety in the terms of your training is something that is, always important when you're buying, gym equipment. And I think that's true. So one thing that I'm kind of making this video about because it's been on my mind recently, is this guy right here. Now, I have talked about this Amstaff preacher curl tricep thing a lot. And as a standalone machine for what it does, there's nothing wrong with it. It works great. I actually really like it. It works great. It's good on a budget. It was fairly cheap. It's Canadian. And, for what it does, it's awesome. But the problem is now, I've got so many options for doing curls and arms. I've got the this new easy curl bar from Line School. They actually sent me this bar for a review, which was pretty cool. A video is up, by the way. I think I got to do a better one, and I'll send that to them as like the review video, because the other one is kind of like a first impression. So be on the lookout for that. I'll probably do that this weekend at some point. Oh, make sure to subscribe and hit the ding-a-ling. So next up, we have these dumbbells over here. That has kind of moved me away from this machine. Now, this machine was nice initially to get away from the barbell and especially be able to sit, do some curls, throw on the game, watch the TV. It's a good time, right? Now, with that being said, now that I have the dumbbells, I find they just work so much better. It's just like, comparing this to the dumbbells, I can do everything I can do on this with the dumbbells, and I now have that adjustable bench in the background too. It's got my sweater on it. Everything's always a mess in here when I go to make a video, of course. But like anything that I could do here, I can do better with the dumbbells. So I feel like, if I want to do like sitting, like whatever curls with like the full stretch, like I just feel like I get a better pump, I get a better range of motion, and they've kind of killed this machine for me because I have not used it in the last. I don't know. I used it yesterday for the first time, but I was just using it because I hadn't used it, and I was just like kind of staring at it, and I don't know. Also, the other thing with this machine is I find the range of motion is very restricted on it. It's like it kind of goes, because it's plate loaded, it goes from like nothing to like 100 really quickly. So, and then obviously with the dumbbell, it's the opposite. You get the full stretch, the full load all the way through. So, sorry, Mr. Amstaff, you might have to go. I don't know what I'm going to get in terms of resale value for this, because I probably will sell it. I'll probably sell it for maybe $150, so about half of what I paid for when it's all said and done. I don't know, but it's a nice machine. It's a nice machine, but this goes back to anything with home gym equipment, right? When you buy something that's too specific, and the next point I'm going to make, too specific, number one, having not tried it out. This is very tough to do, especially these days. Actually, it's probably getting better these days. It used to be worse during like COVID stuff because everything was sold out, and you could barely even order stuff online, let alone go to the store and see if you liked using it first. But I recommend you do that. Go to a store, or like look up a gym, or just call gyms and be like, hey, do you have this, machine in here? Like, I'm thinking about buying one. I'd like to come in and try it out. I'm sure most gyms, especially small town, like, local spots, they wouldn't care. They'd, let you come right in. Especially if you're looking at like a big piece of equipment, like a Rhino belt squat or like something like that, that most gyms would probably have. Because there's nothing worse than getting a super expensive thing and then loading it up, and it's like, man, just that doesn't hit the mark for me. It just doesn't feel like I thought it would. So, something to take into consideration for sure. So I'm not saying that this is my worst gym purchase ever. I think my worst purchase ever in terms of turnaround time, typically I say it's the Rogue Scout Hyper. I'd probably still go with the Scout Hyper, actually, because I got that, and it was kind of cool. It was a new thing. It was like a gimmicky, whatever. And the biggest thing was I just didn't get a good feeling from it. I didn't get a good stretch from it. Didn't seem to help my back at all. That was the main draw for me. It was like, okay, maybe this will help stretch me out. I can do this after squats and deadlifts in my heavy barbell stuff, and it'll fix a lot of some of the problems and imbalances that I have maybe. But it just didn't hit the mark for me, and I found in my workouts I was doing good mornings over the Scout Hyper whenever I had the decision or the ability to choose between the two. So the Scout Hyper came in, and then it left. Thankfully, I was able to sell it for, I think I made money on it, actually. That was the great thing about COVID at the time, like right after that whole time period where you couldn't get stuff. I sold my Scout Hyper, I sold my the Duffalo, the Cadillac bar, and I sold the Echo Bike. I actually made not a lot of money, but I made $50 or $100 on all of those things. Not worth the cost of bringing it inside and building it and setting it up. Absolutely not. But yeah. So some things to consider: specificity, for sure. You could say cost, but that doesn't really apply to what we're talking about. And then just if you like it. I mean, if you like something and it feels good, you're probably going to use it. And I find that with the Easy Curl Bar, I use that almost every workout now. And it wasn't really something that I ever used at the gym. I always did straight bar stuff, but now that I'm doing everything barbell for the most part, I find it's really nice to switch up and use the Easy Bar, and I like it as a warm-up thing. Before benching, I like to do curls, warm up the biceps, help the elbows, that kind of thing. And yeah, just I don't know, you gotta kind of mess with stuff. Now the good thing about this is none of these things I'm talking about right here are super expensive, but I think it goes back to just what we were saying about the priority of buying new gym equipment and what you should be looking at. Is it going to suit you? Is it going to suit your budget? Is it going to suit your footprint? Also, with the bench and the dumbbell setup, I was thinking maybe I could bring those over here because it's kind of in the way over there. I find I have to move the bench a little bit here and there, which is kind of annoying. So this would free up more floor space. I think my next purchase, the next thing that I really want to get, is some sort of single tower cable machine with stack, not with plates. I want to be able to have something where I can do pull down, lat pull down. I feel like that's the biggest thing that I'm missing, in the home gym, and I'm noticing it on bench a little bit because I've been doing better on bench than I ever have before. I rep 250 the other day. It's the first time I've ever done that. I got 265, which was an all-time PR. Also heavier, or as heavy as I've ever been at the moment, which is making a little bit of progress there. I'm down 6 or 7 pounds. That's just in the first week of dieting, so I think it's going to come off fairly quickly, but not going to be a huge cut, but I want to get down 20 pounds, just easy, and then kind of adjust from there. A little bit too heavy, a little bit too chunky at the moment, but it's all good. It's all good. You guys have only ever seen me as fat chicken, but there was a time I got super shredded, and I had sickly looking shredded, and I had abs and everything, and I kind of maintained it for 2 years, and I don't know, I lived that way for a long time, and I don't want to say that I got sick of it, because that's kind of it's kind of like the fat guy, mental gymnastics that you do. It's not that I was sick of it, it's just, I found it as, because I always had to count my calories or to have a good idea of what I was eating. If I just, did it completely intuitively, I would gain weight. That was just, I don't know how I did. So I'm not consciously thinking about it. And if I want to get shredded, I got to count and track and all that stuff. And it's just, it's just an extra stress. And if you're really unhappy with your body and you want to make some, serious changes, then yeah, it's important to take that on. But yeah, I don't know. I just had other stuff in my life that was, taking over, way more important than losing weight. But now everything's good. So it's like, all right, chicken, quit being a fat ass. Anyways, just kind of talking to myself here. But yeah, so those are some of my worst home gym purchases. And you guys let me know. Have you ever made a mistake buying gym equipment? Something that you liked, turned out you didn't like? Or has every decision you've ever made been perfect? Let me know that down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you next one, guys. Check it out.